matter of time before I make that great transformational video. You know what I'm saying? It's only a matter of time. I'm just not ready yet, but I have the material. Yeah, shut this AC off. Yeah, I have so much material. My wife showed me a picture of me yesterday with my 7-month-old at the time daughter. It was 2011, and we were at the Land of Make Believe. And it just floored me. It floored me, and it brought back memories of pain. Man, there was a time. I wasn't diagnosed with anything. But I knew I was dying. I mean, for all I know, it could be prostate cancer or something. Because there were times where I couldn't even come without pain. And that came up today when we were talking about the past. Because she was saying, she wanted more info from me. I don't know, maybe she was talking to one of her friends, but she was like, well, when did you start, and this and that. And it was 2010 with Dan McDonald. 2010 with Dan McDonald is what really opened up my eyes. Like, everything he was saying made sense to me. And I was like, oh, wow, I got to work to that. Okay, now I have my goal, right? I have my mentor. And I don't want to get too off subject, but I was going to die. I'm not kidding. From the irregular heartbeats, my feet going numb, I was definitely hypertension, definitely type 2, knocking on the door, because I couldn't even feel my feet anymore. I couldn't even drive. I drove my whole life. I couldn't even drive anymore. You know what I'm saying? I was in complete breakdown. So, yeah, it was Jeff. It was Jeff rolling over and saying, you're going to die before me. And the reason why he was, I mentioned this yesterday on yesterday's video, but the reason why they were, his birthday's coming up soon, 9876. And he died in October. So this month is always his birthday's in 2 days. And I've said this before too, but he's Jesus Christ to me, man. He died for me. That's how I've always looked at it. Because my whole life changed when he died. Everything changed. When he said that to me, and he was about to die. This was just a few months before his body got full cancer. Because he couldn't sleep. So we're sleeping in the hotel with each other, because we went down to Florida to spring training to watch the Yankees. It was one of his it was on his bucket list. I still have that shirt, but there's Jeff all the way to the right, and that's my dad in the middle. So we went down to Florida to spring training, and he was miserable. We drove. It was 16 hours, and his body's he's filled with cancer. So he's, taking pills and CBD oil, and, he nibbling on stuff, but he couldn't really eat. He tried, though. He had a beer at the Yankee game and stuff like that. He tried to be himself, But in the nighttime, when we went to bed in the hotel, I'm sleeping with him in the room. He doesn't really sleep, so he's watching me sleep. And that's when he says, he's like, Bob, you're gonna die before me. And that right there, that was that was it. Because I knew that what he was telling me was true. Like if I didn't stop right there and then, so everything he was going through, I was kind of going through. Like, because he wasn't eating anymore, and I'm like, everything's starting to make sense to me. And I'm like, the reason why a person with cancer can't eat is because they're in defense mode. Like their body's trying to rebuild. It's like, no, 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 you cannot give me food. I need to heal. Right? And the same thing with old people. Like my grandmother's 91 years old. She doesn't eat anymore because the body is trying to heal and live. Right? So you can't eat. So then I'm like, I'm putting things together. I'm like, Dan McDonald, uh, Jeff just eating ice cubes. My grandmother doesn't eat. Like, everything started making sense. So why not just put the best fuel in you, which would be like celery juice or something like that. Why not just put in the most amazing fuel without eating and see how that feels? And that's what, like, that juice fast when I went on in 2010, that just like blew my mind away. That was when I started crying and stuff, because I had the answer. I finally had the answer. It was in my pocket for years, and I was jumping back and forth. I was like raw, I was like vegan. It was a long transition up until Jeff going, you're gonna die. Because I was doing the roller coaster. I was fighting it, man. I was fighting veganism. I was fighting it. I didn't want to believe it. I still wanted to party. I still wanted to drink. Like I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. And there was a lot of learning I did from the whole time I had that business. Oh my God, the amount of knowledge that I needed to have before I did this was unbelievable. So I understand if you're on the fence, you know, it makes sense to me because it took me years. It took a death for me to figure it out. The death of my brother to figure it out. You know, so I know how difficult cooked food. I know how difficult it is. It was the worst, and I quit cigarettes, and that wasn't nearly as bad as cooked food. Because I'm still struggling now, even with all this remarkable transformation. I'm still struggling now with cooked food. You know what I'm saying? Like yesterday I had those potpourri thoughts, you know, that's what keeps me going, that's what keeps me away from the stuff. Like the really bad stuff. Like the really bad stuff I'm done with, you know what I'm saying? Now it's more like I fight myself with quinoa. I fight myself with cooked, good, whole foods, you know? I'm having a problem with that now. So I'm in that transition. Because when I'm fasting, it's easy. Oh, I'm drinking this juice, right? But what helps me come over the hump when I'm juice fasting is soups. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll have the fireman broth, the Fire 18. I forget what it's called, but there's no oil, there's no salt there. You know what I'm saying? It's just like natural veggies. So that gets me over the hump. It makes me feel like I'm eating. But just by doing that, I feel like it's holding me back from being raw. Because I know that's what I really want. I don't know what I want. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like even thinking in my mind like now I'm hearing my thoughts. You know? Like I know what the perfect food is, but is that the perfect food today? You know? And those are the doubts. That's what brings me back to like a quinoa, you know, what do I crave? Potatoes. Like I love potatoes, but you gotta cook the shit out of a potato. You know what I'm saying? Like those are my cheat foods. Wine. I love a glass of wine. My next day is still bad. Wine is no good. No. It makes me want to drink other things. It's straight gateway. Because I'll have a sip of wine, I feel good, and I could have a. But then I want like, and then someone will do a shot or something, vodka or something. I'm like, yeah, vodka's okay, right? No, no, oh, no, 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 no. So there's so many things that I'm still fighting with the wine and the cooked foods like the potatoes and the rice and the quinoa and stuff like that. Like I try to tell myself that that stuff is good for me, but it's really not. I know how my system is now. I know I feel the best when I'm just eating hydrated foods, like high water, nutritionally dense foods. So yeah, this is the day 11 rant. You know, just waking up fresh. Oh, and the colonic was a bust. I got stuck in traffic. I missed my appointment. So there goes that. But we set it up for next Wednesday. All right. Peace and love, Broadford City. Just a quick rant. There's plenty more. Just let it out. I don't even know where I was going. I don't know where it went. I don't even know where it went. Where were we before? Because I was talking about Jeff. Yeah. The amazing transformation video is coming though. My wife's saying that I completely look like a different person. Like just anything that she says to me, like when she is, you know, it's cool to hear. Because she doesn't say much to me about the whole thing. She's very proud, I could tell. But, you know, she always just lets me do my thing, you know. Oh, you know, there goes Crazy Bobby on his another journey. You know, so. Alright. That's what love is. Peace. I want it for her. I want it for her. I want, now my goal is to shine for everybody else. Really. Like, I want to be Dan McDonald for you. That, you know, what he did for me, I want to do for other people. I just want to come off the camera. I want you guys to see the life in me, the complete change, and pass the buck, and let the ball keep rolling. And what John Rose says, once we hit 10%, the whole system will fall. So it's getting to 10%. It's getting that one person. It's 2010 all over again. When I seen Dan in front of that trailer, juicing on his Breville, with the truck driver that lost 200 pounds and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? That was cool, man. So yeah, all right. Bobby runs over now.
Well, that's not water.